We are live.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the Activist Lens Showcase for the month of July. My name is Michaela Holland. I'm one of the chairs of the Activist Lens Showcase, the Activist Lens Grant for Kaleidoscope.
That's also in a showcase at this particular moment. And I'm Jesse Damiani. I'm the other co-chair of the grant.
So to start off the showcase, we are going to give you a quick presentation so that you can learn a little bit more about the Activist Lens Grant, about the Kaleidoscope, about how you can support the grant, how you can submit to the grant. And then we are going to introduce our incredible board of directors who are here today, as well as our incredible presentees. So I'm going to hand it all over to Jesse, and I will see everyone in a few moments.
All right. Hi, everyone. So this is the Activist Lens Grant, which is a monthly cash prize to documentary projects that capture injustices in real time. This grant sort of began its life. It was sparked by seeing the sort of incredible movement that was occurring in the wake of the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor murders. And I felt like this was a time that we really need to make sure that people who want to be documenting injustice have the resources to do so. And basically it has grown from there. But one thing that I really want to be able to call out is that this is something that doesn't just relate to immersive projects. So of course we absolutely love and want to support immersive projects. This is anything. This is podcasts. This is 2D Flatty projects. Anything that's about capturing those injustices in real time. And there's a little bit of a looser definition of real time and sort of by design, which is to say there are ways that real-time information, either that was captured in the past or real-time information captured in the present, but built into a project that's going to come out later, all of that applies. The point is really to kind of put a big spotlight on the sort of pressing issues facing folks in their communities. So to kind of get through the cash award and the artist benefits as it stands right now, it's $500 to grantees. We're working hard to fundraise and to be able to offer more and more resources as we grow. But some of the other kind of things that come along with that, because we want this to be a holistic award. We don't want it to just be here's your check, goodbye. We want it to be something where we can help you grow in ways that that are really helpful to you, and think about creative ways to help you achieve your vision. So part of what comes with that is production and distribution consultation with Renee, the founder of Kaleidoscope, an open invitation to present at any upcoming Kaleidoscope showcase to an international network of investors, co-producers, distributors, and festival curators. And if desired, I'll serve as a producer and help connect to press, festival circuits, what have you. Obviously, if that's not something that's desired, I'm more than happy to let you just not do that. So the way these work is that, and this is sort of the genius of Renee's idea, is that we can be funding projects from within communities for whom these issues are sort of urgent. So it's a sort of combination pooling of resources among folks who are able to be members at the ally level or above, which also enables folks to be able to submit their own projects to any of the other available grants. But of course, there's a mechanism for artists in need to be able to submit free of charge, because we understand it's a moment where that's very necessary. And given that our goal is to be able to equip creators with that big leap, whether it's like, oh, I need that piece of software, oh, I need that camera, or I need that microphone. We want to be able to do that. So there's options across the way, but those member dues, it's meant to come from within. It's meant to allow communities to bring to life the projects that the community believes needs to be. And so the way that works in service of it being, equitable and with a desire for not prizing any one creator or project, is there's a review process that involves a random presentation of different projects that members of the community will encounter, and from within that, they will be able to upvote, leave comments, and or love projects. So actually, the board, while the board is also able to partake in this process, the board and the chairs, we're not going out of our way and kind of like picking the project and telling you who we think should be the winner. This is actually a purely democratic process. Simple and transparent. I guess I'm kind of going off and getting ahead of my own slides. So yeah, basically at the end of each month, the project with the most votes ends up being awarded the grant. And part of the reason we do this showcase is to be able to really highlight those projects that are kind of surging and getting up there, and giving people a chance in the final sort of days to really be able to put their support behind the projects they believe deserve it. So now I'm going to send it over to the board of directors, because we have an incredible group of movers and shakers, pioneers across different media. So I want to make space for some of them who are able to be here today. Oh, Kayla's muted.
Yes, one moment. Our board of directors will be joining us in just a moment. Cool. So David, do you want to start with a quick intro, a little bit about you and why you felt that this board of directors and this grant is important?
Absolutely. So hi everyone, my name is David Lee. I've been leading creative teams for almost 10 years, more than 10 years now. Started on film, moved on to game development, and then to VR, AR. So very quickly, I've been, even in my earliest professional days when I was leading the Viacom Next team, I've always believed that the more diverse, the more interdisciplinary your background, the more necessary, well, rather the better the medium becomes, because this medium is one that takes a lot of pride from coming from different voices. And it's when it first started out in 2012, at least this way would be, there were a lot of voices to it, and it made for a really exciting industry to be in. That slightly changed across the years, given how the industry has become. Now, circling to where we are today, when Jesse reached out and told me that this grant was becoming something that was going to be very, very real, I saw an opportunity to bring back the voices that were lost on the way, to contribute to XR in a way that doesn't seem to be as possible now. So that's my passion. That's where I come from. My background's in design. It's in helping creatives, and if I can sort of use that skill to help coach all of you who are making these very important voices louder and more heard, I'm here for that. So that's me in a nutshell. Happy to dive in more if necessary, but it's great to see all of you here today, and I'm here to help.
Sean's next on my vertical, so Sean, I'll throw it to you. You're still muted.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sean Taylor. I'm the co-founding editor of the nerdsofcolor.org and one of the founding organizers of the Nerds of Color, of the Black and Brown Comics Arts Festival, which is in our 7th year coming up. My background is in propaganda scholarship, and I have degrees in folk studies and philosophy and religion. And I've always wanted to figure out how do we bring public thought and public discourse, especially contentious thought and discourse, to more people to participate in it. Because I think that these types of conversations shouldn't be just the purview of those of us with a bunch of alphabet after our names, but it should be the purview of everybody who is a thinking human being out in the world. And so me wanting to be a part of this project is I really want to make sure that I am somehow able to bring more voices to the public discourse about a myriad of issues, because we live in a world that is so radically interconnected, but we're also radically siloed. And I would love to be able to be a part of that. And so that's kind of why I'm here. And I want to thank you for presenting today. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Nancy, I think that leaves you.
Okay, I'll be brief. My name is Nancy Baker Cahill, and I'm an artist, and I'm also the artistic director of the Fourth Wall app, which is a platform I have that is really exploring resistance and creative inclusion. And I have my own history with art and activism, and using XR and site-specific geolocated artworks in dialogue with those sites to sort of increase whatever resonance they would otherwise have in another context. And access to public art is really crucial to my work, my practice. So I'm interested in access both selfishly to all of these voices, and just to echo David and Sean, to expand this community, expand the conversation and access to these stories, but also to increase your access to the materials and tools that you need to tell these stories in a moment in time that feels incredibly urgent. I especially with, not even just recent crackdowns on free speech and constitutional rights, but, to Sean's point about disinformation, there's just a lot of, very high suspect storytelling. And so it's really imperative to me to hear authentic stories and told courageously, which I think all of these projects kind of fit that bill. So I think it's a really exciting opportunity to help amplify your voice, to help you in any way that you need, and to, again, expand this community to its, furthest reaches. Thank you.
Thank all of you for being here. I think that gives people a taste of the kind of caliber of people that are helping guide the direction of this grant as it evolves over time. Michaela, I'm going to throw it to you now.
Awesome. So we're really excited today. Since the month opened up for our new submissions, we have had 6 projects that have really stood out to us. And those are Cross, Guilty Until Proven Innocent, Our America, People to People, the Love and Remembrance VR Museum, and Dreams of the Jaguar's Daughter. So the cool thing about this showcase is you actually get to meet these project creators. You get to hear from their own viewpoints, their own mindset, their own passion, their own identification with the project, why it's important, how we as a grant can help them, what it is they're trying to do, and the social impact they want to make. So without further ado, I think we should just get started on those presentations. Awesome. So just to tell everyone, I'm running tech as well as hosting, so please be patient if I'm like typing. I'm not trying to be distracted at all. I'm just trying to make sure people know what's going on.
Michaela is a magical person who can do 3 literal full-time tasks at once. So yeah, everybody should know. If you need a technical event producer of any kind, she will outflank anyone else you're looking to work with.
And that's when I turn off my video, because that was very nice. Thank you.
So this is Our America, and I'm Bryant Young, recent graduate of USC. I just got my master's degree in computer science. Previously went to USC for my undergrad degree in game design. Currently working on Our America as a creative director. I've got it to the point where it is at about 80%. That means all of our content is in. We're at beta right now. We're really just polishing. There's about probably 2 hours worth of replayable content. The story is about 8 to 15 minutes long, depending on the path that you go down. I'll explain that later. This is the current team, minus 2 people that just joined. So I'm the creative director. We also have an engineer, a 3D modeler, and we have an artist. And we just brought on another artist and another sound design person. This is America today. Black people are 2.5 times more likely to be shot and killed by police than white people. And this is why I made this project. So the need for Our America is because minorities don't have a space to tell their stories in current day. And I want to give people what the Black experience like was on a daily basis, not the extremes of people going to jail all the time, but a regular day where a father's taking his son to school and something bad happens. And we know that we have allies out in the world who currently want to hear this story because we've seen the protests all around the world. There's not just in America anymore. It's spread so rapidly that it's now time that we need to make a change. So what is Our America? If you think of Telltale Games and you think of the Black story of America, you put them together, that's what we have here. So it's a branching narrative in a VR experience setting. Basically, it follows a father and their son on the way to school, and they have to deal with different types of racism. So it's subtle racism, overt racism, and it all culminates into a police stop where eventually the audience has to decide how they're going to react in the police stop to survive. So now to the audience that we have. So we're looking to target people that have to deal with that like Telltale game stories. So branching narratives, things of that nature. And then also recently Detroit Became Human just came out on PlayStation. That's the same type of thing. That's the same type of game. Also, we're looking to target VR people that want a very rich story to follow. And we also want to target the minorities in our community and to say, here, this is something that you can identify with in a story that you can feel like you're being heard now. These are some screenshots from the project of Malcolm, the police car, the neighborhood, the car that you'll be driving in. And there's also some art in the top right, and then our logo that's currently in the process of being redesigned.
Shoot, what did I do? What did I do? Maybe grab my registration. Wait, I think it's a gun or something. Maybe my license. Yeah. No. He's gonna see that it's threatening or something. I'll just roll my window down. No, don't do that. Don't do that. He might think I'm trying to hit him. What do I do?
So that's to show you that at any certain point in time, you have all these different choices. You can interact with the environment, you can talk to people, and then each action that you take has a consequence. So to get to this final point where we can publish this project and make it look very, very good and make sure that that we're telling the story the right way, we need to have better models. So we're gonna look for two more 3D modelers, environmental artists and a character artist. We're also gonna look for an animator to make sure the mocap animations are clean and that they look like natural actions. And the last thing we need is a Unity VR optimizer too. So the timeline right now, we're trying to get our community to 5,000. We're trying to do that so that we can have a Kickstarter to raise some more funds on top of what we're already trying to raise. Kickstarter is gonna start in October, December. We wanna try to release the Oculus build. Next year, we're gonna try to target the non-VR platforms so that we can spread the audience to phones and computers, because not everyone has a VR headset, but everyone has a phone, right? So if we can make a build for the phone, that's even better. And the future plans is that if we get to this point where we can publish this project, it creates another outlet so that we can tell more minority stories, not just the Black story. The reason why we started with this is because this is a story that's something that happened to me and my father on the way back from getting our first car. So I can't tell another story, but I can, after I get this and get funding for the next project, I can then tell their story and do it as well as possible. So the budget we're looking for right now is around $60,000. Like I said, we have 4 more people we're trying to bring on, and we're also trying to get money for ads. So we're gonna run ads on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And we're gonna measure our impact in the community by the amount of downloads, trying to get 500,000 downloads. With our audience, that is easy to do. It's not gonna be a problem at all. And then also we're gonna wanna do festivals. We're gonna apply to all the festivals that we can, and then we wanna at least get into 4 festivals is our target right now.
And Bryant, that is time.
Okay.
So I'll open it up to Board of Directors for feedback.
Cool. I'll go first. So Brian, first of all, super powerful story. When I saw your project, I was like, okay, great. It's real time dimension. There's a lot of potential here. So I've really sort of two categories of feedback for you. One's more on the creative front, and the other one's more on the business side of things. I'll start with the creative side first. It's not clear to me if you're playing as the father or as the son. Can we clarify which character you're
You are
playing?
the father.
You are
It's at the father. I
Got it.
apologize.
Okay, so and obviously there's no, they're both valid. It's just like they're both different stories. And if you're the father, you're definitely put in a more precarious role, right? Lots we could talk about here, and I'm happy to do a deeper dive with you. But there was one fear here, which is like, especially if this is marketed specifically as a game, there is that you might lose a lot of sensitivity around it, but people just want to play it like a game. So if it's not clear to them that they're helpless in that situation, what I'm worried about is that people are just going to find ways to I don't know, like fight back against the cop, or do things that almost make light of the situation versus actually enjoy the storytelling. That's a problem with games where you give folks a lot of agency. Sometimes they run amok with it. If you are the child, if you're the son, conversely as well, like you're in a more vulnerable position, but then it gives you more power as a creator to sort of make sure that the narrative is what you want to tell, instead of like getting them fooled. I'm not sure if this is clear, but this is, you probably get a sense of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Second thing is just more on the business side of things. Like, you're charging for this, right?
We're not clear. If we can get the funding to make this project free, we would love to. But if we can't, obviously, and we have to go with a publisher, then the publisher is going to want to charge some amount of money for it to get their money back, right? So that's where we are. Once we get to the point of we know how we're funding this completely, then we'll know if we're charging for it or not.
Got it. Because $20K for an ad spend makes sense if you want to recoup that. If not, like, I wonder, like, do you want to spend that money on ads, like, or is it just for awareness? Because you can also lean on sponsorships, and just like, instead of like actually getting yourself some paid, look at partners who might help float you for that awareness spend. Just something to think about, because I feel like this is a strong story, and to charge for it as well. On the other hand, sort of, especially, I'm familiar with the gaming crowd. Like, they're going to be, if it's going to be like a 10-minute piece, you're going to get like Steam bad reviews. You're going to get people who complain that this is not a game. And it's a lot of weird pricing considerations, especially on the Steam and Oculus store right now, which is what exactly is a $9 experience or a $20 experience. And anyway, I don't want to go ahead of myself, but I'm really excited for your project. I would love to see where you are at, and I hope you get success. And I'm happy to do another one-on-one and find that this is useful.
Yeah, definitely. Please, if you could send me an email, that would be great.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Great, yeah.
I'm well, thank you. So one thing I'm really concerned about is the gamification of trauma. And I'm wondering, have you maybe put in your budget for a psychologist or a psychiatrist to figure out how to be able to include things in the games that will not re-traumatize people or desensitize people to the trauma? Because if I'm just like, oh, the cops, it is like something similar to what David was saying, because I think that when we, especially in the moment that we're in right now, which is my conflicted feelings, because in the moment that we have right now, it's very important that these stories get out and that we talk about these stories, but it's also can be a whole lot to actually psychically mitigate because of that. I mean, I know me, I got pulled over the other day, and I was just like, I mean, just the level of cortisol in my body at the time. And then now you're choosing to enter this world where anything can happen. I'm just wondering, what kind of psychological breaks do you have around it? Or do you have other information attached to the game where people can go and like resources or something? Because I think it could be a very intense experience for people.
So that's one thing that we've always kept in mind, that this isn't a game. This is a narrative experience in the VR setting, right? So like the reason why it's in VR is because this is something that I went through, and I didn't want people to play my life, correct? Like, yeah. Just like you're saying, something traumatic that I've gone through isn't a game to me. It's an experience, and I want you to experience it. The main thing that keeps people in the mindset that this isn't a game is that Malcolm in the right seat. Malcolm's going through something traumatic on a daily basis. And that's what tethers people to this story instead of tethering them to like the environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So then my question is, if it's something you want not to be, then why not use, I'm just curious, like why not use real actors in the VR environment if you wanted to have a more empathic relationship with the material?
So the reason behind that was that actually was something that we were looking at. We were looking to do live action, but the problem was that we needed to do a full script before we could do any of the live action stuff. And the project had a deadline. It had to be beta by May because we were doing it started as a school project. It was 20 of us together. And so it had to be beta by May. And that's why we ended up doing the coding aspect and making it animation, because we knew we could do mocap and get all the animations and everything we needed done, because we could dual path. Like some people could be doing audio while other people were doing animation and things of that nature. And then we can come together later. That's the main reason why it's not live action.
Cool. Thank you.
So that's going to wrap up, I think, the feedback for the board of directors. For me, Brian, I would say just in your presentation as well as in your slides, it's always good to connect this experience back to the personalization and the narrative and why it's impactful to you. And so I totally agree. You're not trying to gamify your life. But I think if we could know firsthand that this is based on an experience that you've had as a child and you are utilizing that as your foundational material, at the start of your presentation, I think that would be a really great way for us to then open our minds up to how it is you are building the game or how it is you're building the experience. And I definitely think there's more to unpack here. So feel free to message the board of directors at any time via the Kaleidoscope platform. That might actually be a better way than you and David exchanging emails in the first part of this. And yeah, we're excited to see how your project grows and continues. And thank you so much for being here today.